All those against? That's carried. Item 725, the Oakleigh Golf Course future planning. Can I have a mover? Councillor Fergus, and someone to second. I'm happy to second that. Any discussion, councillors? Councillor Fergus.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank officers for their work on this over quite a number of months, possibly years, since we've been talking about this. Look, Oakleigh Golf Course has a great many people who use it and love it, and there are a number of residents who speak to me regularly about how they enjoy the course. Shout out to Sandy, who does some great work down there with people with disabilities and so on. But it is the poor cousin, really, of the Glen Waverley course. Monash is a bit unusual in that we have two public golf courses, and Glen Waverley is far and away the one which is used more. It has a much higher number of rounds played there, and that has remained consistent post the height of the pandemic. I recognise the concerns of a number of avid golfers about this report this evening, and look, we knew this would be the case, but I want to assure people that the point of this report is so that the public, including those who use the golf course, can have their say on the future of the course. For me, it is really an exercise in seeing what community sentiment is. It is always extremely difficult when you hear from individuals to judge just how much sentiment of the community as a whole is one way or another. So I think this exercise will be really valuable in informing our future direction of the course. And look, there will be strong and passionate views in both directions, I'm sure. I'm really looking forward to hearing what the community have to say and reading the report of the consultation, and I encourage members of the community to get in touch with ward councillors and others over the course of this consultation as well, if you'd like to have a conversation.
Any further discussion, councillors? Councillor Zagrafos.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Look, I don't support part of this report. The part is that what it's doing is creating uncertainty for hundreds of local residents that use the Oakleigh Golf Club. But I might start with a question, if that's okay, Mayor. I don't know whether I can, to be honest, but I'll ask a question to the relevant director.
You're entitled to, certainly.
Okay, cool. How many public golf courses are there in the east of Melbourne? So obviously we've got Oakleigh and Glen Waverley. Do we have a number?
Through you, Mayor, I can't tell you off the top of my head how many. As a matter of fact, I might need a further definition on what the east of Melbourne
Let's say adjoining councils.
There's certainly one. There's the East Malvern Public Golf Course. We have a number of private courses, but I'd have to take that on notice and get that detail.
Okay, thank you very much, Director, through you, Mayor. And I note I probably should have asked that earlier. But the point is that, in my view, this council should think about not just its duty locally, but to people that live in the general vicinity in our part of Melbourne. If we were to say in the future look at changing the use of Oakleigh Golf Course. Now, I did speak with the president of the Veterans Golf Club today on the phone. He called me when this became a public document, and I note that I've received 5 emails today, of which one is from a committee member of the Veterans Golf Club, another person, who all strongly object to council looking to turn Oakleigh Golf Course into a open space non-golf course, I guess. And we should note that these are people that have been using this golf course for some time. They're generally older, I say that with respect, but they're older people. And they also believe that we probably should have spoken to them at least before putting this out for consultation. Putting that aside, one consideration that I have is that with the new housing coming into the Oakleigh area, so apartment complexes and basically new dwellings, the demand for golf will only increase. And we've seen that in this report that the rounds played at Oakleigh Golf Course have dramatically increased since the COVID pandemic. So people want to go play golf at our public golf courses. In my view, Monash Council is not there to provide a profitable business. Yes, we want to run our budgets efficiently, but we provide a service to people, same like we do at the Monash Gallery of Art, or the new name, which escapes me now, but our libraries, for example, and other services. You know, they run at a loss, I guess you could say that, because we fund them. And the Monash ratepayer deserves to have services like this that they can use in Monash. So putting that all into our consideration, I'm not scared to go for consultation, but I want councillors to strongly think about those that use this golf course, they want to use it, and those that could use it again in the future before we make a decision to close the golf course. Thank you.
Any further discussion, councillors? Councillor James?
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Scrafis is quite right. We have, or the Oakleigh Ward Council, received quite a few emails today regarding this, most of them from golf club members. It's obvious to me through those emails there's been a bit of misinformation spread around, and that's disappointing. Without perhaps breaching the trust confidentiality of those around this table, when we've discussed this prior to this moment, I don't think anyone's suggesting going ahead with either of these two options. The consultant came in and gave us a report, and we said, well, we don't really know what to do. Let's go out and see what the community think. So that is legitimately what this is. Option one is retain exactly what we've got now. We'll have to spend some money, I think it was in 3 years, to redo the pro shop, the golf club, I think it is, because it's not fit for purpose. So that option one would be, we'll retain it as a golf course, and we'll spend the money upgrading the infrastructure that's there at the moment, replace the golf area. And I think certainly in discussions Councillor Patterson and I had a couple of years ago, and it might have been Councillor Fergus actually as well, when this council term started, when we said, well, let's look at doing something, is, well, if we're going to redevelop that, then let's really develop the pro shop and have an outdoor dining.
Point of order. Mayor, has half the council dropped off the meeting?
Can we get some confirmation about that? Are they
We
still there?
We might want to just pause until they're back. Through you, Mayor.
Did you pay the internet bill, Gareth?
I assume I'm interrupting someone, but those of us online are not getting any kind of audio or video.
Can you see and hear now?
Much better.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Are you able
Apologies.
to?
No,
Are you able
sorry, Mayor. From mine, I can see there's two screens of the chamber. One's concentrating Councillors Laws of Graffles and Lake, and I can see that and movement there, but the one that had Councillor James is frozen. Or now it's better. It looks like it's fixed itself now. Perhaps we'll try again. Thanks.
someone online, perhaps if you're able to recall at what point you feel you've dropped out of the discussion. Was it at some point in the middle of Councillor James?
Yeah, he was saying something about he and I had a discussion at some point. If he can recall it all, his contribution from there, that would be amazing, or summarise it.
It was some time after he mischaracterised my consultation with him, I think, Mayor.
So Councillor Patterson and I think it was Councillor Fergus, when we first this term started, I think we discussed, well, you know, if we're going to redo the club, the pro shop there, what could we have? Could we have maybe a deck or a cafe or some outdoor dining there and really improve that facility? So I think for me anyway, and certainly the general gist amongst discussions that we've had is, well, let's go out to the community and say, do we want to keep it as a golf club? And if we want to keep it as a golf club, let's go and invest in the facilities and the pro shop and make the facility as best as it can. Or do we want to turn it into open space? Is that what the community want? So I don't think there's any preconceived outcomes that have been determined here. It's not like we're going out saying we're going down this course, but we're doing this sham consultation just to tick a box. This is legitimately, what do the community want? And if people want a 9-hole golf course then, well, let's leave it there and let's invest in improving the facilities that are there. Because where it is at the moment, it really is that building is not fit for purpose. And the golf club needs a bit of love. The course itself needs a bit of love or attention. My wife and I have played there quite a few times. So, you know, let's find out what the community wants and let's work out a way forward. So this is a legitimate consultation. There's certainly no predetermined outcome that's been suggested in some of the emails today. And if we're going to keep it as a golf club, let's keep it as a golf club, but let's make that decision and invest in the facilities to make it as best as it can be. So, like Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Zagrafis, I'm looking forward to see what the community comes back with, and maybe that's 90% in favour, and so be it.
Any further discussion, councillors? Councillor Fergus.
Yep. Thank you. Mayor, I remember, and Councillor Klasaris will as well, the first council that we were both a part of, which is many years ago now, but we made a decision in that council to close the Oakleigh outdoor pool, and that caused great community interest and opposition, and indeed it's part of the, I think, chain of events that led to Councillor Little being elected to this council in 2003, because he got quite involved in that opposition campaign to that decision, and council changed that decision. I think we changed it prior to the 2003 election when Councillor Little first came onto council. And I've got to say, with the passage of time, I think I was in the majority on both of those decisions. I supported the closure, and then I supported the backflip on that decision. This is my view on the Oakleigh Golf Course. The Oakleigh Golf Course is an underutilised resource, public space in Monash, and its future is up for grabs. I'm not opposed to it continuing as a golf course, and I think my preference would be that there was a way that golf would be a viable and successful enterprise on the land. But there's no doubt that it's not, and hasn't been for several years, for many years. It's underutilised. It is a significant cost to the community, but of more concern than the financial cost is just the underutilisation of that land. So I support what council is doing here, going out to consult. I consult with no fixed view. I'm open to persuasion in it remaining as a golf course, or it ceasing to be a golf course altogether, or indeed something that might end up being a compromise between the two. And my only consideration is going to be, well, perhaps I won't say only, because I will have a financial criteria that I look at as well, but my main focus is going to be what future use can there be for this land that will maximise the number of people who use it and benefit from it. And if it's a non-golf activity, then that's something that I'm very much open to supporting. But I'm also very open and indeed eager to see something similar to the groundswell of community support that rallied around the Oakleigh pool, and which means that these days I don't think anyone on council would contemplate closing or changing the outdoor pool at Oakleigh. Let's see what happens here. As I say, I've got an open mind.
Unless there's anyone else who wishes to speak. Councillor Little.
Just a very brief point. I endorse the comments from Councillor Blake, even those that concern myself. But the other thing that's going on there is that whole region is becoming much more heavily residential. We're seeing apartment blocks going up 6-7 stories high along Dandenong Road. There is now a zonal change going on covering the
Warren Smith.
Thank you, the Warren Smith area. So that will now become a heavily residential area. There's a massive block going up a little bit further down Atkinson Street. That whole area now is becoming very heavily residential. It's apartments. There's a whole group of people, probably hundreds of people now, who could benefit from, say, an open space. Now, I agree with the other comments that what we're doing here is going out to community consultation, we're finding out what the community really wants. But like Councillor Lake says, it's generally underutilised, and we've got a different population now that could really use something like an open space. So this is a really apt time to go and find that, get that community opinion.
Mayor?
Councillor Klasaris.
Thank you, Mayor, through you.
Mayor, I recall a few years ago having a presentation before council in a briefing where golf was a sport struggling in Australia. It was, in fact, it was on its knees, and we had the representatives of the tenants or of our golf clubs seeking a reduction in their rent and some support from council to continue business. That was a few years ago. Since that time, golf has had a resurgence and it's come back in massive strides. I won't be supporting this report tonight because for me it's code for we're going to close the course and do something else with it. We are unnecessarily spooking the community, unnecessarily agitating people for no reason at all. We are in business as a local authority of providing community services to our residents, some of which never make us any money, in fact cost us money. Swimming pools cost money, libraries cost us money. So I can't support this report because I fear that it's going to head down the path where the majority, certainly the majority of this council would like it to go, and that's to get rid of the course altogether, and that's something I won't be a part of. Thank you.
Any further discussion before I allow Councillor Fergus his right of reply? Over to you, Councillor Fergus.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I'm pleased to hear the debate this evening. I really want community members to engage on the future of this site, and that's why one of the reasons why I'm really in favour of this consultation. There hasn't been a lot of community conversation about what this site could be. It's public land. It's land that belongs to the community, and I'd really like to hear from them how they want to use it. The report tells us that there are less than 80 or so members who live in Monash at the moment of the golf course, and they should have their say and they should be looked after regardless of the outcome. But I also want to know what the hundreds and hundreds of people who use the Scotchman's Creek Trail of a morning think about this and think what we could do with this land. We know that we've got a deficit of public green open space in areas like Chadstone and Oakleigh East, which could be alleviated by a change in use. But I really hope that community members use this opportunity to think about the future of the course, and that we either see a reinvigorated golf course with a higher membership and higher usage, or we see a new vibrant multi-use green open space. I'm open to either of those options. I would just like to see community ownership of this space really assist in activating it and lifting its profile in the municipality in the future.
Mayor,
I will.
Sorry.
Yes,
Just
Councillor
before
James.
you go to vote, can I just ask a question of the director before we vote? Is that okay?
Certainly.
Thank you. Sorry, just curious as to how we plan on doing consultation. Are we going to be writing to residents around the area and to golf course members?
Through you, Mayor, there is a consultation plan. Will involve Shape Monash, will involve letter drops, will involve information in the bulletin, so it'll be widely communicated.
Yeah, so I'll just...
And of course, the current users and members of the golf course.
Yeah, so I just want... I mean, I'm assuming we'll do the golf course members, but I just want to make sure we're writing to people surrounding the golf course in that area. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I'll now put that to the vote. All those in favour? All those against?
Can I have a division, please?
Certainly. All those in favour, please put your hands up. Councillors James Little, De Silva, Patterson, Fergus, Lake, Law and myself. All those against? And McCluskey. So now all those against, Councillors Klasaris and Zagrafos. Okay, moving on to 726, the Management